The sky above Earth was quiet. Satellites moved in their orbits as usual. No one expected anything strange that morning. But then, the silence was broken. Hundreds of massive alien ships appeared just outside the moon's orbit. They came quickly, and without warning. Their formation was perfect, like a sharp blade ready to strike. Humanity had never seen anything so large, so advanced. Inside those ships were the Zarn, an ancient alien empire known for destroying worlds. They had conquered hundreds of planets. Their technology was powerful. Their soldiers were trained for fear and domination. To them, Earth was nothing but a small, backward planet full of weak creatures and strange stories. The alien commanders laughed when they studied human history. They watched our old movies, read about gods, warriors, and heroes. They mocked our legends: Thor, Hercules, Bhima, Achilles. To them, these were childish tales, fiction, nothing to worry about. They called humans story dreamers, a race too busy telling myths to build real power. A message was sent to Earth. It was short and cold. Submit to Zarn rule. You have 24 Earth hours. Refuse, and we erase you. But Earth did not answer. Not with words. The Zarn waited. They grew impatient. One commander joked, "Maybe they are hiding under their beds reading fairy tales." Then their scanners picked up something. One life form, alone, moving fast, no ship, no weapon signals, just a human. He appeared near their lead ship, standing on the surface of a broken Earth satellite. No suit, no armor, just a long coat, black boots, and a face calm like stone. The aliens zoomed in with their high-tech optics. The man looked old, maybe late 40s, scarred. His eyes were cold, focused, like a soldier who had already seen the end of the world. He stared at them as if he knew every secret they were hiding. The Zarn laughed again. "Is this Earth's answer? One man?" A squad of Zarn shock troopers was sent to capture him. 10 elite soldiers, the best in their ranks. They landed around him with weapons ready. He didn't move. The lead trooper stepped forward and shouted, "Kneel, human. You are surrounded." Still, the man said nothing. Then, he moved. What happened next was caught on alien feeds, broadcasted across their fleet. One moment, the man stood still. The next, the entire squad was down. Broken. Silent. The fight had lasted less than 15 seconds. No weapons were used, just fists, speed, and precision that didn't make sense. The Zarn watched the replay in disbelief. He had moved faster than their sensors could follow. "Impossible," said one commander. "This must be a trick." But it wasn't. They ran scans. The human was real. No implants, no exosuit, just a man. Whispers started spreading across the fleet. Some began recalling Earth stories, tales of warriors who could defeat entire armies. Could this man be like them? The human vanished after. The fight disappeared from all scans. No ship picked him up. He was just gone. Fear started to creep in. The Zarn had never feared a single human, but now they weren't sure what they were facing. One soldier said, "If Earth's myths are lies, why do they move like truth?" In Earth's silence, there was power. No response, no surrender. Just that one man. Later, a message was found, not a transmission. A single sentence carved into the outer hull of one alien ship. No one had seen him do it. No alarms were triggered. Yet the words were burned in deep, as if by a laser. "You mocked our legends. Now you've met one." The alien commanders called an emergency meeting. They tried to explain the event logically. They spoke of unknown Earth tech, stealth suits, and illusions. But deep inside, they were no longer sure, because legends don't follow logic. And this man, they didn't even know his name. Across Earth, the people still watched the skies. News was limited. Officials said little, but those who knew the truth kept quiet. They had planned for this day, not with fleets, but with one weapon the Zarn would never understand. A warrior born from the deepest human programs, trained in forgotten wars, raised in silence. A ghost. The Zarn thought Earth was weak, But Earth had sent a myth, and this was just the beginning. The Zarn fleet stayed in orbit, but now they were silent. No new threats, no second message. Just stillness. Their pride was wounded. One human, only one, had made them hesitate. Inside their command ship, Supreme Overseer Kelron paced back and forth. His face was tight with rage. "One man," he shouted. "A primitive warrior defeats elite Zarn soldiers? What madness is this?" A younger officer replied carefully. "We reviewed his movements. He was faster than any species we know. He used pressure points we can't even detect." "Tricks," Kelron snapped. "I want his name. I want his blood." Meanwhile, back on Earth, something strange was happening. Across the world, secret military bases lit up. Old bunkers opened. Ancient-looking machines hummed with life. These weren't regular weapons. They were hidden for decades, never seen by the public. Not even world leaders knew everything about them. Deep under a mountain in Greenland, an old general watched a monitor. The warrior had returned, appearing on a satellite camera for less than a second, then gone again. "He's still moving," the general said. "Just like before. Just like in the Black Sun Wars." An officer near him whispered, "I thought he died, years ago." "No, he just disappeared. They trained him for this." The general looked at a file marked Project Ashen Blade. All data classified, all truth buried. Until now. The warrior had no name anymore. Just a code name, Shade. He wasn't a hero by choice. He was forged by pain, silence, and endless training. Born in the ruins of failed peace. Fed only on war. The Zarn tried again. They sent a larger team. 50 shock troopers, 2 hover tanks, and 3 combat drones. Their orders were clear. Capture. Or kill the human. This time, they searched a wide area, an abandoned island in the Pacific. Their sensors picked up a heat signature, faint, like a campfire in the dark. When they arrived, they found nothing but an old temple ruin, overgrown, with vines. It was silent. Then came the whispers. One by one, the troopers vanished. No screams, no gunfire, just silence. Then static on their headsets. Within 5 minutes, only the drones remained, and even they picked up nothing, until a figure stepped into view. Shade. He walked slowly, hands down. Calm. The drones locked on, lasers charged, they fired, but he was already gone. In less than a minute, the drones fell to the ground, cut in half. The temple burned behind him, and once again, no trace remained. Just one new message painted in red across the stones. Legends walk again. The Zarn commanders grew paranoid. They questioned their own tech. They searched their fleet for spies. They didn't believe in magic, but they couldn't explain Shade. All they knew was this. Every time they moved, he was there. Every time. They tried to dominate. He struck like lightning, and Earth still said nothing. Not a single leader appeared on the comms. No military posturing, no warnings, only the quiet movements of satellites and the occasional disappearance of Zarn scouts. One commander, younger than the rest, whispered during a private meeting, "What if Earth didn't invent this warrior?" "What do you mean?" asked another. "What if they found him?" The idea chilled them, because deep space held things even the Zarn feared. Ancient ruins, dead worlds, silent weapons with unknown powers. What if Earth wasn't weak? What if Earth had simply survived something worse before? As panic spread, some Zarn officers requested withdrawal. "We did not come here for a ghost." "War," they argued. But Supreme Overseer Kelron refused. "No myth will break the Empire. We will show Earth what true power means." So he sent their ultimate weapon, a void executioner, a creature not even the Zarn fully understood. It was grown in darkness, fed with fear, programmed to destroy whatever stood in its path. It landed on Earth within hours. A storm followed it, unnatural, winds and black lightning. It made no sound. It just moved forward, seeking one target. Shade. The final war had not yet begun, but the pieces were in place. Earth had legends, and now the Empire would meet them face to face. The Void Executioner moved like a living storm. Its body was tall and black, covered in strange armor that seemed to shift like smoke. Red lights glowed where its eyes should be. Every step it took turned the ground beneath it, cold and lifeless. It did not search. It knew. It was built to track things normal sensors could not see: heat, sound, energy, even memories. And now it followed one trail, the human warrior called Shade. Far above Earth, the Zarn watched closely. Supreme Overseer Kelron stood before a large screen. "Let them witness," he said, voice sharp. "Let all of Earth see what happens to legends when they face true power." They had placed hundreds of cameras across Earth, spy satellites, drones, hidden sensors, all pointed toward the executioner's path. But as it entered a dark valley in Siberia, one by one, the cameras went black. On Earth, the storm grew stronger. Trees bent, rocks cracked, wild animals fled miles away. Then, silence. The executioner stopped in the center of the valley. It raised its head. It could feel him. Shade stood at the edge of the storm, a long coat billowing in the wind. His eyes glowed faint blue. In one hand he held a thin, black blade, silent and cold. No words were spoken. The executioner charged. They clashed like thunder. Shockwaves exploded from their blows. Trees were torn from the ground. Mountains trembled. For a moment, even the stars seemed to dim. The battle lasted 10 minutes, then 20, then an hour. The Zarn couldn't believe what they were seeing. Their most deadly weapon was being matched, blow for blow, step for step, by a human. Kelron's jaw tightened. Why won't he fall? On Earth, Shade was breathing hard. Blood ran down his arm. His coat was torn, but his eyes stayed focused. The blade in his hand pulsed with power. He had used this blade before. Long ago, when Earth was attacked by something worse than the Zarn, something even the Zarn had forgotten. But Earth hadn't. That's why they had prepared him. Why they had kept him hidden. Why they had lied to the world and buried the truth. Because legends were not made to be admired. They were made to fight monsters. The executioner's chest cracked. Its armor split open. Black energy leaked out. It screamed for the first time, an unholy sound that made even the Zarn tremble. Shade whispered something only the wind heard. Then he ran forward, leapt high, and drove his blade through the creature's heart. A blast of light filled the valley. The sky turned white. Then everything went dark. The next day, Earth's satellites showed only a quiet valley. No body, no man, only scorched earth, and a mark burned into stone. One warrior still stands. Panic gripped the Zarn fleet. Some wanted to retreat, others screamed for full war. But deep inside, they were afraid. This wasn't just one man. This was a message, a challenge. One of the generals whispered to Kelron, "They are hiding something bigger. We don't know how many more like him exist. We'll crush the planet." Kelron snapped, "If Earth wants to play with shadows, we'll burn them all." But even as he said it, doubts filled his heart. Because in that moment, somewhere in the shadows of space, 100 ancient Terran ships, hidden from all scanners, powered up, and on each one, stood someone like Shade. The next war wouldn't be fought with numbers. It would be fought with legends. Far beyond the moon, deep in Earth's shadow, hidden ships came alive, silent giants cloaked in darkness. They had no flags, no names, just black metal, strange shapes, and power that hummed like thunder waiting to roar. These weren't new ships. They were old, older than the Zarn Empire itself, built in secret, hidden away after the last great war, when Earth faced enemies no history book dared to mention. And now someone had turned them back on. Each ship had one pilot. Not soldiers, not commanders. Warriors, survivors. Ghosts of Earth's past wars. People trained in silence who vanished from the world long ago. They had waited for a signal. Shade had sent it. On the Zarn fleet, chaos grew. Supreme Overseer Kelron stood before a room of arguing generals. "The executioner failed," one shouted. We are blind. That warrior disappears and reappears at will. This is no longer an invasion, it's a nightmare. Kelrun raised his hand. Enough. We have superior firepower. We take the planet now. Full orbital bombardment. Turn every city to ash. One general hesitated. And if Earth responds with whatever those hidden ships are? Kelrun's eyes burned. Then, we erase them all. The order was given. Zarn ships aimed their weapons. A storm of fire prepared to rain down on Earth. But nothing happened. Their weapons shut down. Across the fleet, alarms blared. Systems failed. Shields dropped. Engines flickered. What is this? Kelron barked. A voice answered, cold and clear, across every screen in the fleet. It wasn't Shade. It wasn't Earth's leaders. It was a woman. We see you, Zarn Empire. You are not the first to stand above Earth and demand submission. But your mistake is thinking we are alone. Run. Stood in the middle of a strange control room, lit with blue light. Her uniform was old, her hair silver, her eyes sharp. I am Commander Yelena Gray of the Terran Ghost Fleet, she said. You fired nothing because we already shut you down. You float like corpses in space. And now? She pressed a single button. Across the Zarn ships, systems exploded. Engines lit with fire. Lights shattered. Hulls cracked. The Ghost Fleet had hacked the enemy from light years away. And then, Terran ships decloaked. One by one they appeared around the Zarn fleet. Dozens, then hundreds. Not large, but deadly. Not many, but enough. The Empire was surrounded. Panic took hold. We were watching Earth, Kelrun whispered. But we never asked, who is watching us? On Earth, Shade stood once again in the ruins of the valley. He looked to the sky. Had done his part. Now the rest of Earth's forgotten warriors would rise. The Zarn thought they were facing one planet. But now, they were facing legends. The space around Earth was no longer quiet. The Zarn fleet floated like broken giants. Damaged, confused, surrounded. Their weapons were offline. Their systems unstable. Every attempt to reboot was blocked by a virus they couldn't trace. And the Ghost Fleet was closing in. Commander Yelena Gray stood at the helm of the TNS Revenant, one of Earth's most secret ships. Her voice was calm as she gave the order. Begin the sweep. All across orbit, Terran ships moved like wolves around a wounded beast. Their weapons didn't shine with color. They pulsed with black light. Energy drawn from old science the Zarn didn't understand. Inside his ship, Supreme Overseer Kelron clenched his fists. Fire manual missiles! All of them! But nothing responded. Then came the real shock. One of the Zarn dreadnoughts, 3 times larger than the Revenant, suddenly exploded from within. No warning. No attack. Just a sudden burst of light and silence. Then another ship vanished. And another. It wasn't the Terran fleet firing. Something else was inside the Zarn ships. Something moving in the shadows. Boarders, one Zarn officer, cried. They're inside. But how? The answer came too late. In the halls of the Zarn capital ship, Shade moved like smoke. He wasn't alone. 2 others were with him. One wearing a suit made of energy, the other controlling nanobots that ate through walls. They were old allies, once part of a hidden Earth force known only as the Ash Circle. Each one had been trained for a different war. Each one had survived the impossible. And now they were ghosts inside the enemy's heart. They didn't speak. They didn't show mercy. They moved from room to room, disabling reactors, planting devices, marking ships for destruction. The Zarn had never faced enemies who fought from the inside, without ships, without armies, just silence and death. Outside, the Ghost Fleet waited. They were in no rush. They knew how this would end. Commander Gray spoke to the Zarn fleet once more. You thought we were weak. You thought legends were just stories. But we do not write stories to entertain. We write them to remember. You came to conquer Earth, but Earth is not just a world. It is a graveyard of monsters far worse than you. Turn back, if any of you can. Kelrun's face twisted with fear. Retreat! Pull all ships back! But it was too late. The virus had spread too far. Engines wouldn't respond. Navigation was blind. Escape was impossible. And then Shade appeared on their main view screen. His voice was calm. You laughed at human myths. Behind him, explosions lit the corridors. But myths never die. The screen went black, and all across the Zarn fleet, the lights went out. Darkness covered the Zarn fleet like a curtain. Systems dead, engines silent, life support flickering. One by one, their massive ships became tombs drifting in Earth's orbit. Inside the command bridge of the Zarn capital ship, Kelrun sat frozen. Alarms blinked weakly around him. Officers whispered. Some wept. Some simply stared at the floor. They had never lost before. They didn't know how to understand this. They had come to break a world. Instead, they were being erased from it. Then, on every screen, the face of Commander Yelena Gray returned. Her voice was cold and steady. We warned you. She gave no speech, no demands, just one last command. Execute protocol, Eclipse. And with that, the sky lit up. The Terran Ghost Fleet opened fire. But this was no normal battle. The weapons they used were quiet, controlled, not blasts of destruction, but needles of precision. Each shot targeted weak points, reactors, bridge, controls, power cores, docking ports. The goal was not to destroy every ship. It was to break the will to fight, to show the Empire. Even your strongest steel means nothing here. In just 7 minutes, over half the Zarn ships were disabled or captured. The rest began sending distress calls, begging for surrender, begging for mercy. But Earth didn't reply, because down below on the planet's surface, another battle was taking place. Zarn drop pods, launched before their fleet had failed, landed in remote parts of Earth. Troops had tried to invade, thinking humans would panic, but they hadn't landed on just any world. They had landed in the lands of myths. One group fell in the Himalayas and vanished in white fog. Another landed in the Amazon rainforest, and their signals went silent. The last group touched down in the Nevada desert. They never sent a second message. No bodies were found, only warnings carved into the earth. Turn back. In space, Shade watched from inside a Terran stealth ship. He didn't smile. He didn't speak. He only waited. There was one ship left. The personal flagship of Kelrun himself. Shade had marked it from the beginning. Now it was time. He stepped through a silent corridor as airlocks opened. His boots echoed softly. Ahead, 2 Zarn guards raised their weapons, but dropped them the moment they saw his glowing eyes. They knew. This was the end. Shade reached the command bridge and stood before Kelrun. The Zarn leader, once proud and full of fire, now sat slumped in his chair. What are you? He whispered. Shade stepped closer. I am what you laughed at. And with that he raised his blade, black and humming, but he didn't strike. Instead, he left the blade on the table and turned away. Go, he said, and tell the others, Earth is not to be touched. He disappeared in the shadows. Later, that same blade would be found embedded in the heart of the Zarn fleet's memory core. It held a message. Myths protect this world. And in every dark corner of the galaxy, those words began to spread. The stars were quiet again. The Zarn fleet was gone. What remained of it dragged away by tow ships, powerless and broken. Earth's skies were clear. The world below was safe. But everything had changed. In the far corners of the galaxy, word spread. Like wildfire, Earth is not what it seems. Whispers traveled through black markets, command centers, and secret imperial halls. Everyone asked the same question. Who really lives on that blue planet? They called it the Day of Shadows. Some believed Earth had ancient weapons. Others spoke of hidden gods. A few even said humans were once galactic rulers who chose to disappear. None of it could be proven, because Earth stayed silent. Shade vanished once more, his location unknown. Commander Yelena Gray returned the Ghost Fleet to the shadows. The ash circle melted back into the world's deepest places, waiting for the next threat, and Earth returned to its ordinary life. Children went to school, Cities healed, the world rebuilt. But underneath it all, every human now knew. They were never really helpless. They had protectors, guardians born from myth. In a dark meeting room far across the galaxy, a council of alien leaders met in secret. "We must prepare for war," one said. "No," replied another. "We must make peace." The eldest among them, eyes hollow and voice tired, said the final words. "If Earth has warriors like that, we do not fight. We stay far, far away." Back on Earth, deep beneath the surface, a single chamber lit up. Inside stood a large table, a round one. At each chair sat a different figure. Shade, Yelena Gray, the nanobot engineer, the silent psychic, and others unseen by the world above. Shade placed a device at the center of the table. A message beacon. "We've been quiet long." "Enough," he said. Yelena nodded. "Time to speak." The beacon blinked once, then again, then sent a pulse into deep space. A clear, sharp message. "To all who hear this, Earth is not to be conquered, not to be ruled, not to be feared. But if you come with war in your heart, you will find only your own end. We are the legends you forgot, and we are watching." Somewhere in the galaxy, a young alien officer listened to the message. His hands shook. He closed the transmission and changed his fleet's course, away from Earth,